All right, thank you so much to Jeffrey Stevens. And now our country has a love for its soapies and telenovelas. We're a nation enriched with literature and creatives. The Copyright Amendment Bill is meant to protect the creative industry, but coalition of content creators now say it robs them of their rightful earnings. The bill is on the precipice of becoming law after it was passed by the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces. It now sits with the President. Now, some creatives say that we should all be concerned about the bill in its current form. And I want to ask them why. Joining me now is Coalition for Effective Copyrights, Colin Dlamini, and Black Filmmakers Collective's Ketiwe Ngobo. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Now, Colin, let me start with you. The creatives and creators held a meeting earlier today, urgent meeting with Minister Rob Davies and also Natim Tetwa about this copyright amendment bill. Tell me what happened in that meeting, please.
So we met with both ministers today. Unfortunately, it's a pity that we met with the ministers at this late stage. The horse has bolted. The copyright bill is now before the President for signature. We've been asking for these kind of consultations with the DTI. However, they've never responded positively to our requests because we've said to them, the DTI doesn't understand how we use copyright in the creative sector, in book publishing, in animation, in filmmaking. They need to come and have workshops with us and understand how it works. However, they've never given us that opportunity. But today, we had this meeting with them, which for us was a disappointment because the two ministers, they literally revealed their hidden agendas, that they are pushing this bill so that they can address the failed government policies of how to address free education. And with this bill, they will allow students and government and educational institutions to be able to expropriate content that has been produced by authors for free without compensation.
Mrs. Ketiwe, what are your main concerns with this bill?
I think that what I worry about is how creatives are going to be able to survive if our livelihoods are taken away, in the sense that we're supposed to be protected under this bill so that we can earn a living from the work that we create. And if we're in a situation where we aren't able to earn a living from that, people are going to stop writing, they're going to stop singing, they're going to stop doing these things because they're not getting compensated.
Why do you say they won't be able to earn a living? What does this bill take away from what's in place now?
There's several things that happen with the bill. I think that there's a place where our content can be free if we look at the technological protection measures, where these measures are within the bill, it enables you to crack a protection measure. So what the bill is encouraging is for people to get our content for free. So if our content is for free, how do we get remunerated? How do I make a sale to an international platform if a user can use my content and get it for free? So it's a very difficult place for us.
Is there no time limit that's been put in place when it comes to something that I've created? Let's say I've created something, I've written something, it's been filmed and so forth, and don't I own the rights for the rest of my life to whatever I've created?
It's the copyright. It's the copyright regime, and this copyright regime would enable us for people to look at it from day one. I mean, and if it enables you to crack the protection measures that have been put onto your work, then how do we protect it? So it's from day one. We don't have those options. There is also an issue around a 25-year or 50-year, but I don't think that that's at the center of our current issues. Our current issues are around really there wasn't an impact assessment done on this bill. And it wasn't done in a way that enabled all the different sectors, because the creative industry is a very huge industry and very complex. The film industry is very different from the music industry, and we have to understand how this bill will affect filmmakers and musicians and writers and authors and artists and so on.
Now, Colin, one of the effects or one of the impacts that you're saying will be job losses.
Yes.
Explain.
So the Publishing Association of South Africa, they've commissioned an impact study report to look at how will this bill in its current form, especially the fair use provisions which we have imported from America, will impact on the publishing industry. And that study reveals that we will lose almost 2,000 jobs only in book publishing. We haven't even looked at the entire book sector value chain on how this bill will impact jobs on printing, jobs on typesetters, jobs on designers, those who design the covers of these books,
yep,
etc. So there's a huge impact on this bill. And we have implored on the government that please conduct an impact study report, give us some research to justify why are you giving us these provisions which would have a detrimental impact on jobs.
Now, the South African Guild of Actors, the PMA as well, the Personal Managers Association, who say they've been working tirelessly for the last few months for government to sign this bill, which they're calling very important, they seem to be very excited about this bill.
But you see, you need to draw a distinction between the two bills. There's the Copyright Amendment Bill and the Performance Protection Bill.
Yep.
And the two bills are joined because there's cross-referencing where there's exceptions in the Copyright Bill that will apply to the Performance Protection Bill. And as a Coalition for Effective Copyright, we support the need for copyright reform, especially for the performers. Mm-hmm. The performers are now held hostage to this Copyright Bill, which is very defective and needs to be redrafted. So we've been saying, performers, you're getting rights in this Performance Protection Bill, but those rights are taken away by the Copyright Amendment Bill.
So let's get to it, just to clarify that, there is the performer, whether it's a voiceover, whether it's an actor, they're protected. But the person who wrote and produced whatever it is that they are performing in is not protected. This is what the problem is.
Yes, absolutely. And the problem is that it's how damaging the bill is to the future of our knowledge in this country. How are we going to have people who write books? People are complaining about the cost of books that are imported, but what we're doing is preventing ourselves from being able to create and write new books which come from our own territory.
Yep.
So we're gonna still be net importers of knowledge, net importers of content, and not be able to be creators and exporters of knowledge. And those are the things that we really have to worry about. And if we think about what's happened to Eskom, there were warnings about blackouts, about what's going to happen. And we sit here today and we will see if this bill does, we hope the President doesn't enable it to go through, but if it does, we will not have a creative industry. And that's 500,000 people. This
is your warning for the President. Guys, thank you so much for coming through tonight.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff. That was Coalition for Effective Copyrights, Colin Dlamini, and Black Filmmakers Collective's Ketiwe Ngobo. Well, that's our show for tonight, but stay with us. News is coming up next.